Painting Fall Colors with Mr. G. All right, we are going to get right into it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put down a little bit of red and we're going to put down a little drop of yellow. Wanted this to be a pretty small amount. And this is before we go into our trees. Then what I would typically do is take my paintbrush, dab it really good, so there's hardly any water on there. And I'm going to dip into the red paint first, and I'm going to make a little bit of a spot in the middle. So I'm going to grab some of that paint, put it there, so I'll be able to mix it with the yellow. Then I'll grab a little bit of yellow, and then I'll start to mix it around a little bit. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get the color orange, because red and yellow make orange. And so as I look at this, while I'm mixing it around, I can see that I probably need a little bit more yellow. And so yours is going to differ. Each time that you try it out, you can put a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, and then you can try to, if you think it needs a little bit more lighter color, then you add a little bit more yellow. And eventually you will end up with a nice little orange color. Now I'm noticing that this video is making my red not as red as it really is. So that's just a video issue. We don't have to worry about that. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm just experimenting a little bit with my paintbrush. Can't see this very well, but what I'm doing is I'm kind of tapping down, and every time I tap down, I turn the brush. You can't see this very well, but you will be able to see this in a little bit. And you can see those marks that I make, and they kind of look like little leaves. And what I'm showing you is just the power of a brush. In just turning it one way or another, it'll make it look a little bit different each time. So if you are trying to do individual leaves, if a tree is really close to it, you can kind of get the idea of how that would look or how that would work, how to make those little leaves. I think you'll be able to see it a little bit better here. We'll try to do kind of maybe some more a red leaf, really. Give it a little practice dab there. These are just little tiny techniques that you can try. Right now, we're not going to be doing this. I'm just kind of demonstrating how that works. We're going to be painting the trees. We're going to be putting leaves on the trees, and that's going to be our main goal today, is to put leaves on trees, different color leaves. So I'm putting down some paint. I'm doing the mixing just like I was talking about earlier. I'm doing a couple little dabs, and notice that I have a very small paintbrush. That's the paintbrush that we should be using for these trees. And so I'll be doing the same thing. I'll be dabbing down just a little bit, just putting down leaves pretty much wherever I think that leaves would go, because you're going to kind of cover the entire tree. And as I'm dabbing it, I turn my brush just a little bit, and I'm not pushing down very hard. I'm just pushing down to get the paint onto the canvas. Now there's no right or wrong way to do this. Just put these leaves wherever feels right to you. So I'm going to put leaves where I think the leaves will go. They're going to be going around the branches. They're supposed to be attached to the branches. If we looked at a real tree is going to have a whole lot more branches than this tree does. But we are giving the impression of leaves on this tree. We're not doing every single leaf that's on a tree. That would be crazy. That would be like hundreds and hundreds of leaves. So we're going to kind of dab leaves all around, and we'll cover the whole tree, because this is the first time. Right now we're just painting with somewhat orange leaves. If you look at the leaves, if you look at the little paint splotches that we've put down, they're primarily orange. But you notice they're not completely orange, they're not completely red or yellow. They're kind of a nice mixture of it. Eventually, while you're doing this, you're going to run out of paint. And so what do you do when you run out of paint? Well, you got to go back and dab some more paint onto your brush like that. So I'll do the same thing. We're going to speed this up a little bit to make it a little bit more easy to watch. And then this time I'm going to take some yellow. I'm going to dab it down a little bit. Can bring some more, just kind of scoop it out, put it out there, and then maybe just a touch of red this time, because I don't really want to make orange. I think I want to have primarily yellow for this next layer of leaves. One really cool thing about acrylic paint is it dries really fast, so you can start putting paint over it and not have to worry about mixing colors, especially when you're mixing blue with yellow or orange, and you're wanting to get the blue underneath and you want the orange to stay on top or the red to stay on top. It's already dry, so it's not going to mix, unlike the watercolors that we did last year. So now you can see got a beautiful golden yellow color that's mixed in with the other leaves that we put on top. And this is going to give a touch of realism to your tree. And now I'm going to add some red. You notice that I dipped into the red, and I wanted to do mostly red for these leaves here. And then we'll speed that up as well. And now just at the end, I imagine that there's probably maybe some leaves that are falling on the ground. So I'm going to put those flying down into the ground. And then I'm going to make my own ground underneath it. And I'm just imagining that the leaves are covering the grass down here. So I'm just going to tap down some more leaves and ground. And I'm just going to imagine the ground is all orange. And that's all there is to doing your tree. And finally, if you wanted to, like maybe you wanted to do this at home, wanted to try some different trees that were further away, I just put a couple of tree trunks down and I just chose different colors, used a little bit bigger brush, and just experimented with that. So if you go home, you can experiment by adding different colors to a tree. You can just maybe make a tree trunk, just maybe one line and maybe some lines sticking out. Might be kind of easy to do it that way. And it doesn't have to be a perfect tree. This is just experimenting. And overall, remember to have fun. Thanks for watching.